I was homeless for majority of my life, and because of that, college was not even a thought in my mind. With the opportunity like the Baldwin Promise, I was able to afford something that was not there for me.
Every day in the United States, people are engaged, inspired, and eager to help. Starbucks is redefining corporate responsibility. Is the best way to do well to do good?
It's not often you find a publicly traded company that believes it can do well by doing good. But every now and then, you'll find a business whose brand is as much about doing the right thing as it is about selling great products. Take Starbucks. I'm a fan of this company because in addition to being able to sell really expensive coffee and tea, it's also got the best technology in the business, allowing them to boost throughput in the stores and serve more customers. I like that they're expanding aggressively overseas, especially in China. I like the new rewards program. But I am indeed also impressed by how Starbucks tries to connect with its customers in innovative ways. Take today. We just found out that Starbucks is producing a new original content series. It's called Upstanders, where they profile ordinary people doing extraordinary things within their communities. So let's speak with Howard Schultz, the visionary founder, chairman, and CEO of Starbucks, hear more about this new series and how his company's doing. Welcome back to Mad Money. Howard, my wife and I watched the Upstanders series last night. We felt terrific. What's the inspiration for Starbucks to produce these?
Well, Jim, I think as Americans, unfortunately, we have been witnessing the very worst of a terrible political season in which there's been such hatred and vitriol and divisiveness. And I think in view of that, so many Americans have been led to believe that the story of America is just that, when in fact, I believe that there's so many ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things every single day, and we went out to find them. We thought we'd search for 10, 15 stories. We found hundreds. And as a result of that, we believed that we had an obligation and a responsibility to share that with our customers, our partners, and the marketplace, not for any other reason. This is not about marketing. It's not about PR. It's certainly not a branded series. This is just sharing these kinds of stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and this is about citizenry. And I think at a time in America where we're witnessing such a dispirited level of divisiveness in terms of the political situation, let's find the true American story. I feel so strongly about the promise of America and the American dream, and these 10 stories, which are people not being bystanders, but people being upstanders, is emblematic of the true American story and the American people.
Okay, so Howard, my charitable trust has long owned Starbucks. Owned it since pretty much the beginning of the trust. I found myself thinking, I feel great watching Upstanders, but what does it do for my trust as a shareholder of Starbucks?
Well, I think that's a very good question, Jim. If you think about the history of the company, going back to when we were just a public company and providing equity in the form of stock options, comprehensive health insurance, over the last couple of years, college tuition for our employees, we recognized early on that building long-term value and building a great enduring company was about investing in our people, investing in our customers, taking care of our communities, and always trying to recognize that in order to do the things we were doing, to build shareholder value, we also had to build value for other aspects of the business. And I think today we are witnessing many consumer brands that are chasing many, many methods of traditional marketing, and there's a lot of waste. We believe that the currency of trust and confidence with our customers and our people is based on many things, and one of them is, in this case, sharing the stories that we believe are authentic, are genuine, and I think people are longing for truth and authenticity, and I think Starbucks has a license to do this. And I think there's another aspect to this. We invested very heavily, as you know, in our mobile platform and the mobile ecosystem. This is the first opportunity, and I think there'll be many more, of embedding these stories in the mobile app. And millions of people already today have downloaded the app and watched the story. And so we are in a position, I think, to leverage the Starbucks experience, enhance the experience with our customers by sharing these kinds of stories, and there'll be more to come. in many ways, we're not a tech company, but we have invested heavily in tech. We're never going to be a media company, but we're going to invest in content. And this is all part of leveraging the experience in our stores. But let's not forget, our business is very healthy. The unit economics of Starbucks domestically and around the world. We're under construction in a roastery in New York City, a roastery in China. We're about ready to introduce the new Reserve stores. Since the introduction of the new rewards program, things have settled down. And I think we will demonstrate once again the long-term value to our shareholders at the end of this fiscal year and beginning in 17. I am optimistic about the future of the company because of our core business, our relationship with our customers, and once again, I think not embracing the status quo, but looking for new ways to advance the equity of the brand and the experience with our customers.
All right, well, Howard, on the last conference call, you did talk about how it was a bizarre confluence, instead it was a one-off confluence between the complexity of the Star Wars reward program being introduced and also the fact that you kicked off the annual Frappuccino Happy Hour, one of my favorites, I have to admit, and that this was difficult to pull off, but that you would get past it and maybe that 5% streak that you've had 25 straight quarters of comparable store sales could just be it was one-off, and then we could see that again. I hear from your tone that could be a return to the +5.
Well, let me say it this way. I said on the conference call that that quarter, in view of the situation that you just described, was an anomaly. And I think it remains to be seen whether or not I was accurate or not. We'll report our earnings at the end of the fiscal and a quarter and year in November. And, I remain, bullish on the company, bullish on the stock. But as always, we're building a long-term story here, as we always have. But, Jim, we're going to open close to 2,000 stores over the next 12 to 18 months. Our business in China is really a stunning example of the success of probably no other Western brand has had, with almost 2,500 stores, opening more than a store a day. The unit economics of new stores that we've opened this year in the U.S. is the best we've had in almost a decade. So, yes, we had a little bit of a miss on comps in Q3, but I wouldn't overreact to that, and I think certain people have. And, I always say to you something that I love the state motto of Missouri, which is the show me state. Well, It's time for us to show up, and we'll see what happens in November.
All right, now, Howard, there's a candidate that's running for president with just some tweets and the all-encompassing media that loves to cover everything that he does, Donald Trump. And I was thinking that if you run for president and you ran these stories, and I'm not kidding, because we are starved, as you say, for good news. And you just said, look, let me show you who we are wanting to back in our country, the upstanders, that you would do better for the upstanders than as you can as a private CEO of a private company.
Well, Jim, we've talked about this a number of times as well. Obviously, there's two choices for the presidency in this November, Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. I strongly believe that Hillary Clinton is the best choice for the country and the rest of the world. And we have two choices. Howard Schultz is the CEO of Starbucks Coffee Company at this time, and that's where things sit today.
All right, so let's say I know an upstander or think I'm an upstander. What do I do? How do I get my movie, my story told by Howard Schultz?
Well, I think we had such good fortune of meeting so many interesting people. This is the first season of the original content. This is day one. We've had an unbelievable response because people are so hungry and longing for truth, authenticity, and aspiration, and to be reminded of the true promise of America. But there will be many submissions, and as a result of that, we will follow up. But this is just day one, Jim. But there will be other forms of content that we will leverage. And let me give you an example of what I mean by that. There's a 3 to 5 minute window between the time 20 million people are using the mobile app, the time they buy the coffee with their phone and they're waiting for the drink. That 3 to 5 minute period represents a unique opportunity for us to present unique content, whether original or otherwise, that could enhance the experience with the customer. Now, this particular content is not something that's going to generate revenue. But it's very possible in the future that we will have content that will add to the revenue line of the company and be accretive to Starbucks Coffee Company. We'll have to see.
If I were at Starbucks, I would like to go by for a light dinner, have a beer where the profit margins are great, as I know from Bar San Miguel, or wine, and watch these clips. When are we going to see worldwide distribution of beer and wine, and watch some upstanders while we have our drinks?
Well, I think you know we've been successfully testing that in many markets across the country with different kinds of wine, craft beer. We're working with AB on a number of things. I think there's a huge opportunity for that evening day part. We probably have gone a little bit slower than we initially thought, primarily because we were addressing other opportunities, specifically the unbelievable success of cold brew and nitro, which we're going to roll out nationally. So in many ways, we've had a treasure trove of opportunities, and we just have not got to the evening part of scaling evenings nationally, but you'll begin to see that. I think right now, with the roasteries, the reserve stores, the fact that we're opening more than a store a day in China, the success of remodels within the domestic footprint, these are all things that are going to add significant value to Starbucks, our shareholders. And although we are now a mature company with almost 25,000 stores in almost 75 countries, I remain very true to the statement I've made for many, many years, and that is we are still in the early stages of the growth and development of the company, and I've never been more optimistic about the things that are in front of us that we can do, leveraging technology, leveraging what we're doing in terms of content with upstanders, and obviously our core business. But the innovation pipeline of things like cold brew, like nitro, even bringing back pumpkin spice latte, which was introduced yesterday again to a rave review. I'm just sitting here recognizing what a unique position we are in domestically and around the world.
All right, Howard, thank you so much for coming on our show, sharing the story of the upstanders, which everyone should watch, and also telling us about the current tone of business. Howard Schultz, Starbucks Chairman and CEO. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks a core holding of my trust. Heard everything that I like to hear. I hope you did the same. Mad Money's back into the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.